Monday, 6 July 2026. 3 Asia-Pacific AI stories before your first coffee. A U.S. federal judge granted Alibaba a temporary reprieve on 5 July from a Pentagon rule that forced the company's Washington lobbyists to drop it as a client. The rule bars any U.S. government contractor from sharing a lobbying firm or law firm with companies on the Pentagon's Section 1260H China military blacklist. Alibaba was added to that list in June, alongside Baidu and BYD, and is now suing to overturn what it calls an arbitrary designation, making this the first direct legal challenge to the lobbying restriction by a major Chinese technology group. Why it matters? The case draws a line around how far U.S. AI decoupling can extend beyond chips and models into the advisory infrastructure that Chinese tech groups rely on to navigate Washington. If the court ultimately strikes down the lobbying ban, companies like Baidu and BYD gain a template to preserve their DC access even while sitting on the blacklist. If it holds, Chinese AI firms lose the professional networks that help them contest export controls, investment screens, and procurement bans. Capital allocators watching Alibaba Cloud's enterprise push in Southeast Asia should track this closely. A company locked out of Washington lobbying has fewer levers to fight secondary sanctions that could ripple into ASEAN partnerships. The second order effect worth watching is whether U.S. law firms begin preemptively dropping other 1260H listed clients to protect their government contract revenue. So, Tokyo is committing billions of yens to build a sovereign large language model, anchoring Japan's push to reduce dependence on foreign foundation models for critical government and industrial workloads. The initiative sits inside a broader METI strategy that pairs compute subsidies with domestic data curation, and it follows South Korea's similar sovereign model investments earlier this year. Japan's move makes it the third major Asia-Pacific economy, after China and South Korea, to ear more dedicated national funding for homegrown foundation models, signaling that the region's AI policy center of gravity is shifting from regulation toward industrial capacity. Why it matters? Builders targeting Japanese enterprise and public sector contracts should expect procurement rules to start favoring domestically trained models within 12 to 18 months, mirroring the preference framework Seoul already applies to Naver's Hyperclova X. Capital allocators watching Asia AI infrastructure plays now have a third sovereign model program competing for GPU supply, training data partnerships, and talent, which tightens an already constrained compute market across the region. The second order effect worth tracking is whether Japan's sovereign model push accelerates a fragmentation of Asia's AI stack into national silos, or whether Tokyo negotiates interoperability agreements with allied programs in Seoul and Singapore to pool evaluation benchmarks and safety testing. Now, Beijing, Tokyo, and Seoul are each scaling autonomous drone programs at pace, shifting the military AI contest from airframes to algorithms. China has fielded loyal Wayman drones and tested a mothership platform capable of releasing 100 to 150 loitering munitions in a single sortie. Japan plans to raise uncrewed system spending roughly tenfold, while South Korea has set a target of 500,000 AI-enabled drones, making Northeast Asia the most concentrated theater for autonomous weapons development anywhere in the world. Why it matters? The decisive layer in this arms race is no longer hardware but autonomy software, and much of it is being designed to interoperate with United States command and control systems. Defense AI builders across the region face a dual integration challenge, proving swarm coordination works at scale while meeting allied interoperability standards that Washington is still finalizing. Capital allocators should note that none of the 3 leading programs has yet paired its spending surge with a credible framework for restraint or escalation control. The second order effect to track is whether this autonomy stack, once proven in defense, migrates into civilian logistics and infrastructure inspection, creating a dual-use supply chain that regulators are not yet equipped to govern. That is your AI in Asia briefing for today. Stay sharp, build well, see you tomorrow.